On today's show, we have the Celtic game last week, the Hearts game next week, new deals for Ryan Porteous and Fraser Murray, the AGM, which Stephen was lucky enough to be at, so he gives us some information about how that sort of all went, and also whether drinking should be brought back to football matches. Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
And Stephen.
Hello.
So, how you been, guys?
I've been good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, a bit choked up. I think it's kind of hitting everybody, but...
Yeah, I was feeling a bit like that today too, to be honest.
Stephen, how about yourself?
Alright, not too bad.
How's the new job going?
Alright.
In the training process now?
Shit. It's alright actually. It's not too bad.
Dave, how's life been with you?
Life's been fine, mate. Just staying away, aye. Looking forward to well, there's nothing on at the weekend at all. Looking forward to the derby. That's literally time's ticking down to then. Washing away my days.
And with Hibs not playing, it's good that Hibs fans have got this to listen to instead. To help fill that void.
Aye.
So
that's what we are here for.
Aye. So, aye. So, I mean, the last game obviously was Celtic. We'll come back to that in a second, and we'll also preview the derby. But a couple other things to run through first. So, starting with new deals for Fraser Murray and Ryan Porteous have both signed 5-year deals to keep them at the club, hopefully, until 2023. So, starting with Fraser Murray, he spoke to Hibs TV, and the theme of his interview was he kept on coming back to how Porteous and Shaw are in the team, and how that's been an inspiration that he will eventually get an opportunity. And I didn't realise it's been a year since he played in the first team. Which seems crazy. So, I mean, what's been holding Lennon back from giving him more game time, considering how much he's trusted Shaw and Porteous to take so much game time?
Well, I mean, they did say at the AGM last night that it was more a case of bleeding the players through, but not in big batches. It was more 1 or 2 a season, just so that they weren't like overloading it and wasting the talent. Because, I mean, you look at the years when we got relegated to the Championship and they put through Harris and Handlin and Lewis Allen and, I mean, Cummins as well, and it was just far too many. And then we lost
Scott Brown, Kevin Thompson.
That was a
O'Connor, Whittaker, Riordan. Didn't they cause any issues then?
I'm not saying.
Sorry, I disagree.
I'm not saying it's.
To be fair, half of them went away off the ropes. Did they not? they never exactly had fruitful long careers. So maybe it just took a wee time to kick in.
I guess.
I never said that was a Hibs thing anyway. I says it was more a Lennon thing.
Right.
That was his vision.
Is that fair on Fraser Murray, player his talent, not really getting much game time?
Well, I think the fact that he's agreed to sign a 5-year deal, he's obviously been told, look, you're going to get your chance. There obviously is something there. We've all seen him though. He is a good player. So the fact that he's committed to it as well, he obviously could maybe getting some encouragement for how well Shaw and Porteous and that are doing, and he's like, oh, I will get my chance, and if I take my chance, then he's got a 5-year contract at Hibs. Like, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, aye, security and stuff. And Ryan Porteous, will this help fend off interest? A few weeks ago, Celtic were linked with a move for him in January. Obviously, they've been linked with the boy up at Aberdeen as well.
Well, they wouldn't come in with enough money anyway. Personally, I think Porteous will be we'll get the most amount of money for Porteous that we have out of our player.
Yeah,
more
than Scott Brown.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
What was Scott Brown?
4.4.
4.4.
And then what was Fletcher?
3, and plus a big add-on.
Yeah, so I think Porteous will get more than the both of them, especially there isn't really much young up and coming centre halves. I mean, see Scotland centre halves are absolute howling.
I don't know.
Scott McKenna's.
I think Scott
McKenna are alright,
but
it's not like you've got a massive pool of them. Like,
the thing is as well though that Porteous is working his way through the under-21s, and he's not been fast-tracked into the Scotland squad, which is a good thing, because you look at how well the under-21s are doing now. Fair enough, they never qualified for the under-21s championship, but
got to the final of the
right.
Toulouse tournament against England. So
Exactly. I mean, the players are there.
it's a semi-final.
He's getting the experience. I mean, he's basically a first team player for us now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think he was 19, but
No
that way.
chance.
Yeah, exactly. Right, moving on. The AGM was last night when we recorded. It was last night you were there, Stephen. Yeah, so as we said, Stephen was there. So Stephen, do you want to run through some of the main talking points? So I mean, Leanne started, took the floor and stuff, and she was kind of talking about, you know, how well we're doing and stuff. What was she sort of saying about?
I mean, she says that it was the aims for this season are pretty much the same as last season, and it is sort of for the foreseeable is that we're getting European football each season,
Which means a cup or fourth.
third,
top
fourth, or the cup. But I mean, we should really be pushing for second, in my opinion. I mean, that was pretty much it, really. Just the fact that the cup goes forward.
She also touched on the type of football we're playing, and that it's sort of, you know,
fast-paced passing game.
Yeah, something for the vision. The vision is to make supporters proud of their club, and talked about the good home support and stuff. So
I think a lot of it was sort of based more on what was getting done outside the match days as well.
Yeah.
Like obviously the Hibernian Community Foundation, and they obviously do a lot of the stuff for the Hibs ladies team and that as well. So I mean, obviously we're doing the NHS thing as well in the famous 5 stand, so there's quite a lot going on.
Questions for Neil next. There were some questions for Neil, some silly ones, sounding like it was a bit of good banter, and then he was sort of winding up the fans and the board and stuff. You know, when asked about if he'd do the aeroplane, he was saying about, do you want me to get banned again, and asked about signings in January, and said
1 to 10.
10. So and then we've already spoke about what he said about youth development and things like that. We'll come back to something he said about a potential signing in January.
Jank folk were feared to ask questions, Stephen.
I was.
Well, yeah.
I mean, this whole comments for Lennon about after the Celtic game about having rejects in the team, and that could have been a question that I would have asked.
We'll come back to the Celtic game in a minute. First off, though, he did get asked about Scott Allan, and why we didn't go for him. He said, first of all, he'd cost money. Second, we had a number of positions we wanted to take precedence. Sorry, I've struggled with that word. And then Hyndman came into the party, and he was a player we quite liked the look of. So,
The only thing I've got an issue with that is that we said we had money. We had to do the big budget, and Lennon was saying that he was getting backed and all that, and then all of a sudden Lennon's there. First of all, it would cost money, as if that's first speed bump is money. But we said we had money.
Yeah, and I don't know how much was spent on.
Yeah, well, none of his days.
Horgan and
you've got Horgan, and you've got obviously the McLaren, the Canberra, like all your wages and that. Like, I've not got an issue with that, but it's just didn't he come out with that
sweeping statements.
Right.
Aye,
It's like
it was a bit. Aye,
your bird saying, "I got minted dinners all week," and then you get to the end of the week and you get like chicken nuggets, and you're like, "I was getting minted dinners all week." Like, they say stuff to get your hopes up. If you're just no, there's anything wrong with chicken nuggets.
But they're homemade.
You didn't expect to get them though. Like,
he then later said to the Edinburgh Evening News, he is a Celtic player, and it's not for me to say whether we would be in for him again come January, but he is a player that thrived here in 2 spells. To me, that says they're going for him in January. I think they're going to speak to him, try and get him on a pre-contract, and then go to Celtic. Look, he's coming to us anyway. What do you want to do? Do you want this lad to sit on the bench and do nothing, or do you want to get a bit of money and we'll get him now?
The biggest concern for me though is that Celtic are trying to drive interest in him, and I mean other players, especially in especially in Scotland, will be looking at him like he's not had any games for Celtic. He's free in January.
So what other club would he go to?
he'd be an absolute idiot to go anywhere else.
Yeah,
Of course. No, I agree with that.
Aberdeen, you know, would be probably a good move for him, but
Rangers might
it's
go
still a
in
bit of an unknown. He would never go to Rangers after everything that's happened in the past. He wouldn't go to Hearts after being so well at Celtic. And then you're talking about Kilmarnock and all that sort of stuff, where Hibs can pay higher wages and all them. So yeah, it's
Maybe Jack Ross is looking at him doing in Sunderland.
Maybe he thinks, you know, the bit of a Scottish Revolution going on down there, and maybe that'd be a decent move for
It's
him.
not going very well though, is it?
Definitely not.
No, it's not going that well. But
The Gaelic will be back up in January. Maybe.
But there's a Scottish Revolution currently going on there, and So I think he will come back. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in that. Anyway, moving on quickly before we get to the Celtic game. One last thing before we get into that. Hibs ladies were their game of the season, and they just played Glasgow City a few weeks before and beat them in the League Cup semi-final to get to the final, which was great. Celtic then went and had a really bad result against Barcelona. And then, this is the league game, getting towards the end of the season, and this is the big game to kind of, they're level on points, they're really close on goal difference, and unfortunately, really good performance from the Hibs ladies, but they're on the losing end of a 2-1 defeat to Glasgow City.
Second out of 2, Gav.
Did you see the handball situation though?
No, I missed that.
No, they should have had a penalty.
Aye.
100%.
Oh no, I did see that, yes.
No, it was a handball.
Yeah, it was a handball.
I seen somebody saying, but there wasn't a Hibs player there for it to go through or that, but doesn't matter. You can't jump up and catch the ball just because there's nobody there.
Yeah, that was a handball. That was a penalty. So
he didn't jump.
Things
up and
could have been differently, but they probably should have taken one of their chances and.
I think it's
at least
still in
got
a cup
drawing.
final too.
Yeah, but the league's the thing that it's like they've like you said, they've done the double. They'll probably do the double the cups again this year. It's that hurdle that the club just really wants to get over and overhaul Glasgow City, who are probably going to now win their 13th in a row or something like that.
It's like your opinion on Hibs winning the league.
Oh, we're not getting into that again. So let's finally crack on with the Celtic game before we then talk about the derby next week. Usually we go through the game bit by bit, but we got beat, so I can't be bored doing that. So instead, let's just analyse how Hibs set up, whether things could have been different. So did Lennon get his tactics wrong, or did injuries take their toll, or was it a bit of both? Lennon, David Gray was out injured, Boyle was up top, should have played right wing back. The boy that was just signed, what's his name?
Henry or Harry.
Harry, that's it. That's what we can call him, Harry. Should Harry maybe have been kind of chucked in, or Nalom could have came in? He started with Slivka at right wing back and Horgan at left wing back and Stevenson as left centre back. Which, Dave, you're just shaking your head. That doesn't help for a podcast.
I know, but it's just. I don't even know what it's all other place. He obviously isn't the ideal situation. Neil Lennon can't be looking at that going, that's what I want to do. He's obviously been maybe forced in there. It's something that they've worked on in training. Maybe Slivka's quality in training at right wing back. When he's got say
in front of him,
Horgan or something to run at him in training, or he does alright. But it's not his position, and my problem with that is everybody gets on his back, and it's like he's really good in the centre of the park doing his job. So I don't like when folk are like, Slivka's shit, punt him and that. You did see a few people on comments, and he was getting quite a hard time, but it's hardly his fault. Aye.
It's just like playing Marciano up front. It's one of the things. It's the biggest thing for me was the fact that we played 3 at the back and we never started Porteous.
Well, Porteous had a bruised foot. A lot of folk are forgetting this. He went on Scotland under 21 duty and had a bruised foot, and that was the reason he was dropped. It was a close call, and McGregor only found out a few hours before because they wanted Porteous to play, but they felt he wasn't fit, so they put him on the bench instead and played McGregor.
A few paracetamol would have been fine.
100%. A wee injection.
Yeah, maybe they could have put
the boy's f***ing like a brick wall, Ken. He's not got to be bored about
the only thing is, it's see if we had maybe games against Hamilton that coming up, that type of game, Hamilton, your Dundee and that, you maybe would have been you're playing, because then if you maybe
out for the Hamilton Dundee games,
then after it, if you aggravate it and it gets a wee bit worse, you can take that risk. But the fact that it's the derby next,
you want Porteous for the
derby, because like Stephen just said, he's a tank.
Aye, and he's a Hibs fan.
Yeah,
you want as many Hibs fans playing in that derby.
Yeah, 100%. So maybe that's why they didn't risk him, which I'm fine with. Just got a difficult game for McGregor to come back into, and especially when Celtic are playing like that and Sod's Law, when was the last time they played like that at him?
Well, they just got pumped tonight off Leipzig again,
but they hammered St Johnstone,
Yeah.
but they've not played that since they played Rangers, and they only beat Rangers 1-0. Couldn't they finish their dinner that day? Whereas they could have had double figures if it wasn't for the goalposts and Bogdan. Unfortunately, so we just got them on a bad day, and when we give them that kind of start, then it doesn't really matter what team Lennon picks. It's
Never coming back.
if we're playing like that, then aye, silly.
Yeah.
But Lennon did get it all wrong.
And I mean, it's good that we've got a manager that isn't afraid to then change things if things are going wrong. But there's that whole argument of, is it good to be a reactive manager, or should you be a good enough manager to have things right in the first place where you don't then have to react? And obviously away to Parkhead's always going to be a difficult game, and yeah, with injuries it was always going to be a tough one. I mean, but to me, Boyle is an established right wing back, and he was up top, and Nalome's an established left wing back, and he was on the bench.
Do you think that's anything to do with the size of the park? Like Boyle maybe had a bit more space to run into. Like
Yeah, he wanted that
up top.
pace up top.
Stretch them a wee bit, especially because if they're playing quite a high line, like you're leaving quite a lot of room for Boyle to run in.
Yeah.
Whereas, like for example, coming up to when we play against Hearts, is Boyle going to play in the wing because it's a narrow park? Like, is he maybe been like, right, we need to play Boyle up top? And Boyle had a good game against Celtic up top.
He did, yeah.
So, he's like, oh, we need to give him a couple of runs up top because he might actually start against Hearts up top.
I don't know if he had, I wouldn't say he had a good first half. Him and Canberra weren't in the game in the first half. Part of that was due to the service, but at the same time they could have came deep. Boyle's got the pace to come deep and make things happen. The two of them were not in the first half whatsoever, and they had a good second half. And I mean, both their goals, sensational goals.
Oh, aye.
Boyle's chip, he's real confidence to do that. Chip a great keeper like Craig Gordon, and then Canberra's wow.
And I love these wee nod, these wee Cantona swagger to the Green Brigade. Get it up, bees. Brilliant.
That's good. So, do you want to mention any notes on the Hibs defending at all for any of the goals in specific, or was it just not good enough?
We partied like the Red Sea for the Celtic second goal.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, and we just looked a bit. Everyone was a bit frantic last ditch. They were just pulling us to bits, but Milligan should have brought down Forrest for one of the goals.
Aye.
Should have just taken him out in the wing rather than you were never catching him, mate. So, and then obviously Forrest cut it back, and then Edward finished it, I think. But aye.
And Stephen, finish up the Celtic game. You had a comment you wanted to make on Neil Lennon's comments afterwards, referring to the players as rejects.
I just didn't understand why you would come out and say things like that. Obviously, you've got an argument for why we do have rejects in the team.
Well, the rejects of other clubs.
But it's not something that you say. A reject isn't a word that you use for a football player, especially one that's in your team. Like, it's just not a nice thing to say.
Players need thicker skin than that. They need to be able to, if they hear words like that, they go, oh, well, I was rejected by Preston.
Right, okay, so put into perspective, when Lennon come out after, was it the second game of the season or something, turned round to Ambrose and says, oh, you should never, can't play football. Useless as a defender. Next game week, he picks him. Like, you can't, it's just the things he says, and it's all the wrong thing.
He said that stuff, and then 5 weeks later, Ambrose got Player of the Month.
Yeah.
So, did he get a reaction at Ambrose?
But that's what I'm saying, though. He shouldn't be making comments like that in the
Or
public.
did Ambrose get a mulligan? Probably
Exactly.
Maybe part of that, yeah.
Exactly.
But no, I think part of that was good management. I think he knows Effie and he knows what to say to get a reaction.
Right, so that was an individual player. Why didn't he go turn around and say, oh, by the way, Canberra's a reject, McLaren's a reject, Boyle's a reject for Dundee?
Have you seen some of the video footage of in the dressing room, Alex Ferguson back in the day, like the way he talked to his players and the words
exactly,
he
but
called them.
he done it behind closed doors, Gav.
Oh,
He didn't
no.
come out in a press conference and say, oh, by the way, half my players are rejects and the other half are loan players. What's the point in saying that? Just turn around and say they had a bad day. That's your players. That's the players that are got to be playing every single week. Get behind them, Gav.
But he has got a point considering Edward was 9 million.
Never a £9 million player in my eyes.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Ah, he's great. He'll not be at Celtic for long.
No, I must admit, I do rate,
Southampton's usually where they go, so he'll be there soon.
I do rate him, and I think when Lennon said it, he said we're full of rejects, and then probably at that moment straight away he was like, he then backtracked, who are playing brilliantly for me. Like, it's like a wee bit of a slap, but I kind of half agree with Stephen. You can't really say your players are rejects. It's no the right thing to say. Like, you wouldn't want your missus to come at me and say, call yours
I reject somebody else. I dumped all my birds.
Bye, that type of thing. It's no
It's not professional.
It's not the type of thing. But I would agree, it's maybe all getting a bit soft. Like, is it really that bad a thing to say? The mayor I don't know.
I think there's an argument on both sides for it, but when you're in a professional environment like that, call your players rejects all you want in a changing room if they play shit, but then he'd turn around in a press conference and say, oh, my players are rejects.
Mm-hmm.
There's a time and a place for it, and that wasn't the time or the place. But the thing is, like, Lennon's made that many comments out in the public, and fair enough, he does get a reaction for it. Hopefully we go and hammer Hearts after it, but
aye, fingers crossed we do hammer Hearts. So let's fire on to that next. Dave, right, let's start with the cliche. They always say it in derbies, form goes out the window.
Right.
How are you feeling about next week?
Hey, how you want me to approach this? Do you want me to approach this green tinted glasses on, or do you want me to take them off?
I don't know, it's up to you. Take them off. Let's
take them off. Do I see us beating Hearts? No.
I do.
We've just got a poor record at Tynecastle, and I don't share that same optimism, because I've always been quite a pessimistic Hibs fan, and it's shite. I would much rather be an optimistic Hibs fan, but I just think a point's probably what we'll go for. I can't really see us taking anything else other than a point.
Fair enough. I think Hearts
Everybody's just switched off.
Hearts are doing well because they're high on confidence.
Yep.
They're in a false position. There's no two ways about that. If a Hearts fan didn't agree with that, then they've got their maroon tinted glasses on. They had a good run at the start of the season in terms of the teams they played. They got a good result against Celtic. Fair play to them with that one, with a goal from Lafferty, who doesn't play for them anymore. And from then on, it's been, it's a winning bug's a good thing to have, and I think they've currently got that, and they've currently got the confidence. In terms of how good they are, I've heard a lot of people and a lot of fans say, even a Dundee fan said, we were awful the night, but how the hell are Hearts top of the league?
Well, the thing is, they don't strike fear. Like, I'm not fear to them.
No.
Like, so it's no that. It's just I know that how Craig Levein sets up his teams, the fact that they are high in confidence, and our record at Tynecastle, that I'm just being absolutely honest. But I expect us to turn up and I gear it, like, I go at it. But at the same time, I just don't think
it's a bit of an unknown, because I've not seen much of this Hearts team. I think I've seen one of them they play one of the games they played against Old Firm on the telly, but other than that, I've not seen much of Hearts this season. So it's a bit of an unknown. They brought in 19 players or something over the summer, crazy amount of number. And when we played them last season, Christoph Berra was the one who was man of the match every time we played him. He stopped our strikers from doing anything, and especially at Tynecastle, and obviously got the winning goal in the cup game. He's out injured. Suter stepped up. He's now out injured. So
Uchi's out.
They've got their big striker Uchi out. If only Naismith was suspended. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of an unknown going into the game, but I think if McLaren is back fit, Canberra and McLaren up top, I don't know.
I am buzzing to get them two back, the killer.
Aye.
It's annoying me that they've not had that much of a chance. They've had like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So,
Stephen, what's your thoughts on the Hearts quickly before we kind of go into the Hibs?
Really don't can. Go either
it's
way.
a bit of an unknown. Okay, so let's look at Hibs then. Obviously we just came off poor result against Celtic. What do we have to do differently?
Just get a reaction for it. It's the exact same as what happened in the Hibs ladies game. Like Glasgow City got pumped off of Barcelona, come up and beat us in the most important game of the season. We've reacted well in defeats. Like we got beat off Livy, come back, and then went on a 7-game winning streak. The possibilities there, like, and it all depends on how Hearts go against Celtic at the weekend.
That could be a factor in it as well. Which I think Celtic will win comfortably. A lot of people might be listening to this afterwards and I'll sound like an idiot, but yeah, let's hope that I'm right. So how have you guys heard anything about the injuries? Like, what's the update with Hanlon? You know, he's been out a while. Any word on him coming back? David Gray missed the game. Is there any chance of him coming back?
Says that he'll be out for a couple of weeks.
Right. Harry, was he close to fitness? Could he play? Nalom, is he getting a look in anytime soon?
The problem is that we've done the podcast a week before the game, so there's not been as much team news coming out, obviously, whereas not playing at the weekend.
Yeah.
So, but it will be just a case of wait and see, but I expect us to come up with something a bit better than the tactics. Then we need to learn for the start of the Celtic game, so hopefully it's no anything like that, and I would love to see David Gray back in the team, so hopefully he's alright, but like you say, you think he's out?
Well, he did say that it would be 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh well then, so it's not bad.
So how would you guys approach the game? What kind of formation? We've played a lot of formations over the last few weeks. We've played 5 at the back, we've played a diamond, we've played 4-1-4-1. What kind of formation would you guys go for against Hearts, considering their narrow pitch and all that sort of stuff?
Got to go 3-5-2 in my opinion.
I don't. Okay, well, yeah, I'll let you speak now.
I just think it's logical. If it's a narrow pitch and we're playing with one striker, like sit Horgan just behind him, or Malin just behind Canberry. But again, it all depends on whether McLaren's fit.
Interesting, Dave.
4-1-3-2.
Right. So the diamond.
Aye.
Right. Aye. Because I think the diamond would work as well. I'm with Dave there. I think the diamond would work well at Tynecastle. It's a narrow pitch.
Well, it just depends where you've got
Milligan
in defence.
Milligan can be the defensive midfielder who can drop in and allow the wing backs to get up. Stevenson can obviously bomb down. I'd even maybe play Boyle, even if it is a back four with Milligan in front. I'd play Boyle maybe at right back and let him bomb up and down. If nobody's fit, if Harry's fit or Gray's fit, I'd play one of them there. I wouldn't play Whittaker there.
3-1-4-1. That's a possibility. You could,
right. I guess
it all depends whether, like, if again, could be whether Porteous is back. If you've got Porteous back, play him, McGregor.
I hate Canberra up top himself. I hate it.
Yeah,
but that's the thing though. Like, you've not got another striker.
You've got to have either Shaw, Boyle, or Canberra play, or McLaren start.
I think up top will be Canberra and Boyle.
McLaren has to be fit now.
I just think it'll be Canberra and Boyle at the start. There's day.
So then, hopefully, we've got a right back fit.
Yep.
Hopefully, Harry has a wonderful debut. Well, some of you might be listening to this on the way to the game or that, and the team news is out and things. So, hopefully, you'll have a better idea, and hopefully, we've got an established right back playing rather than Slivka at right back. So we'll wait and see. So, score predictions for the game.
I'm going to go 1 each.
Stephen?
1-0 Hibs.
I'm going to go 2-1 Hibs. Confident.
I think
Right.
that's a game we need another clean sheet, in my opinion.
I think we need to win. We can't. They're 8 points in front. We can't go 11 points behind them. That's simple.
No chance.
Yeah.
And 8's not good enough anyway. So I want chop.
Get back up, you know.
Stephen, you had any luck getting a ticket yet? Nah.
Well, to be honest, like, because my shifts are back in work now.
Right.
My first week's next week, so
Not looking
won't
good.
be finished till like 7. So.
Well, if you are watching it on the telly, if I've worked it out right, the corner flag, on the right hand side, the right hand side, you might see mine and Dave's faces, because we're in the 4th row, so down that side beside the corner flag. So we might be on telly, Dave. We're gonna be famous.
We've already been on telly. Remember before the Aberdeen game when we all gave shite score predictions?
Aye. No, I got it right.
Me and Dave gave shite score predictions.
I know, I'm managing on telly and getting the score prediction right. Okay, so finishing up, just a wee topic for discussion. There was apparently there's going to be a discussion on whether the drinking ban should be lifted in Scottish games. I kind of know your guys' opinions, so I may have to play devil's advocate to kind of make this more interesting. But what's your guys' thoughts on it? Should drinking ban be lifted? And because I mean, go down to a game in England, you can get a pint
In the concourse.
in the concourse. Yeah, should that be the same up in Scotland?
I was actually listening, they had the article brought up on that fourth one, and they were saying about it, and it makes sense what they were saying, because like they says before a football game, everybody goes for a pint anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody goes to the pubs.
Yeah.
So it's not like when you had all the casuals running about like stabbing each other in the street and all the rest of it because they were like steaming. It's not like that now. It's more a family atmosphere back in football, and based on that, I mean, I can't see why like you shouldn't start drinking again in the concourse. You can't take a pint to your seat because then they all just end up over the person in front of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they do it at other sports and that. Like, you go abroad and that. Spain, Prague, or then like,
Baseball's quite famous for it and things. So, you see people with
even
pints.
rugby, you can have a pint at your seat. Like,
Crazy. I don't think we'll get to that stage, but you like you say in the concourse, it would be a great
they
step.
already do it in England.
Dave, what's your thoughts?
I personally think that it should be allowed because we drink. We'll go to the pub before it.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of beers. Like you're only there for like an hour and a half. You're not going to get absolutely smashed in like another beer or two. I did hear a couple of interesting points today though. A couple of mates saying, and they think they heard it on the radio on TalkSport, that the fact that you've seen all these videos of when somebody scores a goal and there's beer flying everywhere, and that would turn into that, and it would be a bit inconsiderate for folk that are getting covered in beer that are sitting there like Waynes and that are no drinking and just didn't try a beer. You've just pay £4 for a beer, then you chuck it. But it's just that's going to happen though. And one other thing, one of somebody put up, it'd be like folk going out for a drink and it all the time, and you'd be up and down your seats. Nothing more annoying when folk cutting across.
But I think the way you solve that is just what Stephen said, where you only have the drinking in the concourse, and you have the security
as
there
well
to say if somebody's coming out with a beer, say no. I mean, folk are always going to take a beer out, but you just have to go, no, you finished your beer here, but then you go out.
The argument as well is the fact that Hibs have already got behind the goals. Like, they're actually already promoting drinking in the stadium, like, behind the goals, like, at the famous 5 stand.
Thing is, I would only drink it in the stand. So see if I was like, you can have a beer, but you would drink it in the concourse. I'm watching the football. I'm not going to stand. I know you could do it at half time. It's too busy.
Match thing. Like, it's more.
Aye, but like say, just go behind the goals, which is fine.
So for Hibs, you guys would say, well, there's behind the goals, so what's the point? But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess another point towards it would be, I mean, other clubs don't have those facilities. They're not as lucky as us, and it's another way for clubs to make more money.
And I would agree, it's a good way for clubs to make money. So at the end of the day, see if it works. Like, just go have a drink, watch the football, then a bit of asshole, and then it'll stay.
Yeah,
know what I mean? And then your club will make more money, but there'll be the odd few, like there is for everyone, that'll ruin it for everybody, and then that'll get blamed on that. Even though that it wouldn't have mattered if they've had that 1 or 2 extra pints. If they're absolutely wrecked and they've had 1 or 2 in a football stadium, then it probably means they've been drinking before it. Just imagine just sitting there watching Hibs with a pint in my hand. But
right, well, we'll leave it there then, guys. Nice wee interesting debate to finish up, and we'll keep an eye out and see where it goes with that story. And it's just a little topic which I saw on Twitter today, and I thought we'd have a wee chat about at the end. And we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, Derby next week, so fingers crossed we'll come back with it and do another one after the Derby and before the St Johnstone game. We'll try and squeeze one in. It might be a phone one or something, but we'll squeeze something in then, and hopefully it's a very positive one. I'm confident it will be.
fingers crossed. I've changed my mind. 2-0 Hibs. Yes. Come on.
Oh, right. Okay. See, before we start recording, We have no swearing on today's podcast, please. I hate having to edit it. Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
And Stephen.
Hello.
How we doing the good day, guys?
Shite.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
I got tonic wine on my mind. I'll share it with these friends of mine. You know we're having a good time. You know we're having a good night. I got